What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you with another drive stream. Yes, talking about the Russell Wilson mega extension with the Denver Broncos. The news broke this morning. The numbers that stand out: 7, 165, 245, 296. Meaning 7 years total. 165 million guaranteed, $245 million extension, in net 296 million over that time period. He's getting paid, as we all expected him to. So much to process here as I've been thinking about it this morning, and my reaction to it as I saw it. I was in bed, looking at my phone, saw the news break, and I want to know what you guys think about it. Did the Broncos, did they make the right move, giving him all this money without even a single snap, or do you think this was a mistake? Obviously, Broncos and management, they're all in. That's no doubt. Question is, nobody knows the Seahawks better than us Seahawks fans who've been watching him for the last 10 years. Did they make the right move or not? Okay, so my WuTang Life. Nor do you miss your girlfriend, Russ? Okay, so I will start by saying this, to be totally honest, because, there's a certain amount of, bitterness to this whole thing when he got traded and the way it went down, and hard not to see comments being made by Russ, which makes you feel a little bit, even more sort of like, who is this guy? Who's the real guy? Did anything he ever say really mean anything? Meanwhile, I'm driving by all the teachers in the Kent School District who are on strike still. Honk at him, give my support. So, when I first read it, I was shocked. I did not expect that I'd be hearing about the extension this early. I thought for sure it would be something that they'd look at next year after the season, because Russell still had another year left. They didn't have to do it right now. Obviously, they wanted to get it done. So really, the question now is, well, actually, I should back up. I was trying to think, if Russ was still with the Seahawks, and this announcement was made, and it was the Seahawks saying they had extended Russ through 2030, he's going to get $165 million guaranteed and all that stuff, would I have been okay with that? Would I have been like, yes, that's my guy? And I would be lying. Pause, I have to set this phone on Do Not Disturb. There you go. I would be lying if I were to say I wouldn't have been excited, because before the trade happens, I was arguing tooth and nail that Russ was going to be our quarterback forever and he would never leave the Seahawks, because I believed it. I believed him when he said he was saying it. So if the cards would have played out where the Seahawks announced it today that they were going to extend him, he would be a Seahawk for the next 7 years, which probably means he'll be a Seahawk for the rest of his career, I would have been thrilled. I would have been like, yes, we're going to be tied up, money's going to be, how are we going to make it work? I don't know, but that would have been the way I had always foreseen it. So yeah, I'm not going to lie and say I think this is stupid, this was a waste of money, because if it had been the other way around and if it had been with the Seahawks, I would have been excited about it. I would have been nervous, I would have been concerned, I'm like, oh man, I hope he can deliver. But I still would have supported it. I would have been like, yes, I wanted Russ to stay with the Seahawks the whole time, so I'm going to admit to that. Now, he's not, though. It's with the Broncos. So, how do I feel about that? Well, trying to be as objective as possible, which is hard because ever since he left, and just every time I see a post of him talking about the Broncos and talking about this and that's right and all that, it's hard not to just want to see him, fail that much more because of that bitterness of what I just talked about. But in all reality, what have the Broncos bet their money on? Because they haven't seen him take a single snap, not even a single snap in preseason. So they're betting entirely on everything, making him almost the most highest paid quarterback, second only to Aaron Rodgers, who's just a tick higher than him in the entire NFL. Above Mahomes, above Deshaun Watson, above Kyler Murray, just a tick under Aaron Rodgers. And that means they're going to pay him more over the next 7 years for what he's about to do than what Russ got paid to do for the past 10 years. They're betting his best years are coming up, because you wouldn't pay a guy more money than he's been paid unless you thought he was going to produce better than what he's done, right? We know what he's done. It's been pretty remarkable. Can't deny. Been spoiled by it. But is he going to be able to live up to that? That's the big question. I mean, that's the big bet. They're going all in. They're pushing all the chips in the middle of the table. We're all in on Russell Wilson. He's going to be our guy for the next 7 years, and he's going to bring us to multiple championships. I'm sure that is the expectation. The expectation, if they weren't high enough already on Russell Wilson, they're even higher than they've been because of this now. At least theoretically, you know, he could be like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm getting paid now. It doesn't matter whether I succeed or not, because I'm getting paid whether I fail or not. I can go 1-16 and they're still going to pay me the same amount, so it doesn't really matter. He's guaranteed at least $165 million of that. So he's in good shape no matter what. So, you know, all this stuff is just simply legacy and, you know, investment on the team standpoint. The team has a lot more to lose. Russell Wilson's got nothing to lose. He has absolutely nothing to lose in his situation. He's in the perfect situation right now. So, but will it be worth it for the team? Will it be worth it? Will the fans be happy with what has happened? You know, and we've been watching Russ for a long time. And the last couple of years, you know, we have had our frustrations with Russell Wilson. Holding on the ball too long, not willing to throw the check down. When you need to get 4 yards, just get 5 or 6. Instead, he throws like 15 yards trying to get the big one. You know, teams have figured him out. He hasn't been able to do as much Houdini magic, scrambling out of the pocket as much. He's run the ball less. You know, and who knows? Maybe this is all by design. Maybe Russ didn't run as much because he was like, well, I'll run when I get my next contract and I'm set for life. He was already set for life, but when I'm really, really set for the rest of my career, I should say. So maybe he didn't want to risk getting hurt in a Seahawks jersey, knowing he was not going to be here for the future. So there's that possibility that, you know, maybe that's why he didn't run as much. But it still doesn't answer the fact that, you know, there was plays he wouldn't make, throws to the middle of the field on slants and things, where I still believe that my mom might be right in saying that he's too short. That really he was maybe had certain physical deficiencies that didn't allow him to do some of the things that we had been wanting to see him do over the 10-year span. You know, why did we not develop a screen game? I'm not talking about bubble screens, talking about like traditional running back screen game that never came to fruition. Why did the tight end never become, you know, a fully weaponized combination with Russell Wilson? You know, all these things. The sacks. Is it Russell Wilson hanging onto the ball too long, or did we really not protect him enough? But here's the thing. You know, we're going to find this out real quick. We're going to find it out this year. We're going to find it out over the several years to find out who really is right. You know, and the way that the Seahawks go. Who, just like the Brady-Belichick scenario, we're going to see the answer to that in the next, you know, several years to see how that all pans out. Right now, it feels a lot like Russell Wilson's going to have the better of the two situations. At Pete Carroll right now, it's hard to find a whole lot of optimism from anybody I've talked to, including myself, about what to be optimistic about the Seattle Seahawks after what we've seen in preseason. But I still argue that the pressure is still on Russell Wilson to deliver for the Broncos. And, you know, again, financially, he's fine. But the love of the city rides on his ability to deliver what they're all longing for. And that's to be the franchise quarterback who can lead them to multiple championships, multiple playoff wins, that sort of thing. But who's going to come out ahead? Well, in the short term, likely Russell Wilson. You know, will Pete Carroll fold back to his pre-Russell Wilson records? Because before Russell Wilson, I brought this up many times, he was 7-9 and 7-9. 2010 and 2011, he was 7-9 both seasons. Made the playoffs in 2010 with a losing record. And it wasn't until Russell Wilson showed up that they start winning playoffs on a consistent basis. So, with Russell Wilson gone, will it become the Seahawks of before Russ again? Sure feels like it right now. Or will he, you know, will Russ be the Russ that we've been frustrated with? And I think that's the thing that the Broncos are hoping. And might be misleading for them, because they're hoping to be investing in what I feel like is the Russell Wilson of 2012, 2013. because that's what they're paying. They're paying the guy who had his best years in his early part of his career, which we know he was aided by great defense, great running game, and a really cheap salary, so we could afford, you know, waves of defensive linemen and great offensive line. But the same reason when we started paying Russ was part to blame why we couldn't afford to have the best weapons around him. It kind of goes without saying, you can only pay so many guys, and when one guy's making most of the money, you know, you can't afford everything else. So the Broncos have put themselves in that position already before the season even started. So their best opportunity right now is to win right now this year, because things are only going to get more expensive over the next few years after that. But will they get the Russ that they're hoping for of the early 2010s? Or are they going to be getting the Russ that we just swapped from? Which, you know, there's a lot of people who are not happy with the way Russell Wilson played. You know, even I have my complaints, but I still wanted him to be our quarterback. There are a lot of people who are done with him, even when he was still a Seahawk. Will he evolve into a quarterback doing things that we didn't see him do in Seattle? Are we going to find out that the reasons Russ didn't do those things before was because Pete Carroll and the offensive scheme that was devised around him? And will the Broncos give him everything that he believes he can do because he just wasn't given that chance in Seattle? That's what we're going to find out. That's the biggest question. And if it turns out Russ just goes crazy and performs like an MVP and looks like 2013, 14, 15 all over again, but even more so, well, then I think we'll all know who really was the important ingredient in this whole ride that we've been on the last 10 years. And Russ would be right all along. If he doesn't, then we're going to have a whole different discussion when it comes to the legacy and what Russell Wilson really was and what he became. Because a lot of people will argue, and I got about 30 seconds left before I jump out. Meet my buddy Mark Collins, and just across the Seahawks practice field. Getting my hands on a few Seahawks 2022 posters. Hopefully get to give some away to folks. What was I going to say now? I had a great train of thought and I just killed it. But I think that was what I was basically just trying to say, is that we're going to find out, you know, who truly was the greater of the two that made everything that was successful for the Seahawks. Who it was. Was it Russ or was it Pete Carroll? That answer will be figured out in the next 2-3 years. At least a lot of it will be. I mean, it's impossible to take the old Russ, put him back in, but we know Pete Carroll. Nothing's really changed with Pete Carroll, so we will find out. But one thing we know is not going to be hurting, and that's Russell Wilson's bank account. And whether that affects how you feel about him and the Broncos, my emotions are pretty much the same. I saw this coming. It didn't break 50, but it was pretty damn close to it, 50 million a year, basically just under 50. So they've got that price tag. They got that debt to pay off. Will it pay off? Well, we'll find out. All right, make sure you join me tonight. We are doing the Madden Championship, Farewell Madden 22, with my battle against Vishnitzel. You can join the Discord and be part of the conversation. Maybe you can give some coaching advice while I play. It's been a while. I'm super rusty. I haven't even touched the controller in who knows how long, so it's not going to be pretty. But it'll be fun anyway. At 5 o'clock Pacific time. Join me on YouTube. We'll be doing that live stream. Our competition, Vishnitzel, the winner of the Madden tournament on NorbCam. All right, I'm out here, guys. Hope to see you guys tonight. Have a great rest of your day. Go Seahawks.